financial system in the world is moving from fundamental to sentimental side because the financialization of the economy makes investors look at not the fundamental value of something, but rather the expectation, risk, uncertainty, and also what we call noise. Okay, noise means sometimes you have set of information, but you do not trust your own information, and you always seek like other opinion. For example, in social media, someone which is who is very well known, for example, talk about adverse things about Turkish economy. Probably even if you live in Turkey, you trust or believe that person. That is why perception is very important in economy. And as we know, this election in Turkey is approaching, and we have seen in order to really destroy the investors' confidence about Turkey, we have seen several attacks, psychological motivation, psychological movements in Turkey, and that is why the current turbulence in Turkish financial system, maybe 90% depends on this perception side. When we look at the fundamental side of Turkish economy, for example, fundamental means when we look at the manufacturing sector, when we look at the tourism sector, when we look at the industrial sector, we have seen that the growth rate or the year expectation about the year growth rate for these sectors is about 12-15% range. Even IMF and World Bank revised their growth expectation about Turkey. They claim that recently, last month, they, for example, produced a report show that their estimation for Turkish economic growth in 2020 is to 2021 is about 9%. Even some Turkish experts claim that Turkish economy is expected to grow more than 10%. When we really rank Turkish economic growth performance for 2021, I think Turkey is number 2 country in whole world in terms of GDP growth performance. Therefore, my point is the current turbulences is mainly because of psychological, really games played by the Western financial apparatus or configuration to really create some instability and also change the voters' perception about the incumbent party type Erdogan. That's why when we look at the fundamental or structural side of Turkish economy, it is very strong. Especially a couple days ago, I read a news about China. There are 2 important manufacturing cities in China. In both cities, because of this Omicron variant of COVID-19, the speed of this variant is so fast in those 2 cities where the industrial base is located in China. We have seen that probably China is going to apply some closing measures in those 2 cities, and therefore we expect that probably the industrial production of those 2 cities are going to be declining. So when we look at what are the substitute or which country can substitute Chinese product, Turkey is one of the first runner in terms of substituting Chinese product, and we expect that probably in a few weeks or in few months there is going to be a huge really business deal with Turkish industrial sector. So my point is probably in 2022 Turkish industrial sector in first and second quarter is expected to grow with the same pace, probably around 9 or 10%. And that is why when we look at really structurally, Turkish economy is strong. But in the other side, in the sentimental side, we have seen so many psychological games is going on, and therefore and Recep Tayyip Erdogan's trying to figure out how can I managed to circumvent these games. And today he introduced new set of economic policies. Probably it is going to give really create some public finance burden. But anyway, he is trying to really answering those games played by the Western financial apparatus on Turkey. I hope it helps,
Yes,
Professor
thank you,
Uysal.
Doctor. Just one question. The perception is so much important, but how Turkish people can or the foreigners, let's say, foreign investors, visitors, people come and go, buy houses. Turkish tourism is strong. How but the negativity impacts their perception. How we can fix that?
Actually, because unfortunately the narrative about Turkey is mainly read by the Western media like Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and Washington Post, or Economist. That is why Turkish hand is weak in terms of really creating some positive perception about Turkey, because almost even the poor countries generally follow Western media when they really assess situation in any countries. Therefore, as a Muslim, I believe that we need to have create some good institutions that give true analysis and true data about our neighborhood before blaming others. So TRT is doing great job in terms of this, but I believe that we need to really set some institutions so that the true information is conveyed to other part of the country, not only for Turkey but for almost all countries, because Western narrative always try to target others when the others do not behave in their interests. So that is, I think, the most important point.
I have
Thank
a
you.
question for you. Actually, two questions.
For me or for Dr. Murat?
For you.
Okay.
Please.
Yes, go ahead. And I want to welcome Dr. Mohami, Dr. Tarık Şendep. He's also coming and going, and he's following Turkey very closely. After your question, also, I welcome him. Go ahead, Mr. Adam.
Actually, two questions. It's dollar and money or gun. It's the world bigger than 5. How will he do this?
Yes, this is the first question. The American hegemony is dollar is a major part of this hegemony. America prints dollars, but it is a international currency reserve money, and it keeps maintaining its value. The America printed, I think, at least 10-15 trillion dollars in this Corona period, and nothing got affected. It's like stealing is printing money, but it's creating value at the expense of others. That's we and others. But the Middle East and Arabs have some role in this by buying and selling oil with dollar. So the Arab countries also is part. If they decide to sell it in euros, the dollar hegemony will be shifting. Or if they sell it by gold or whatever, and because dollar is a huge currency and spread all around the world, so America just gaining money. And before I maybe retweet it again. Both Clinton and Trump said, especially when they comment on Bitcoin, I'm not a fan of Bitcoin because it's open for abuses or misuses, etc. But says definitely they are against Bitcoin because they say it can challenge the status of dollar as the world currency. So to answer to your question, America is using dollar And Biden also said that they will topple Erdogan with more, legitimate ways, methods, because they tried the coup and they are still supporting the PKK. And, these are illegitimate and they failed. He said we want to try more acceptable methods to, I think this is the dollar gun they are trying to use. This is one question. And before I come to your next question,
Professor Ahmed,
Aaron,
just a question I want to add you. Like, you know that there was 100 years agreement between Turkey and all other states. Like, do you think that after 2023 the Turkey government will execute oil like from Turkey, or what do you think? Because there is a source in Turkey where you can have oil. Do you think that Turkey will go for it?
maybe this is one of the wars also against us, but in all cases we will continue. We have Ambassador Irfan Bey is with us if you want to comment on this, because we see this is like another attempt against Turkey to weaken, to steal our value without having a serious flaw in the economy. When things go awkward. Mr. Ambassador, welcome. He's Dr. Irfan Neziroğlu. He's the ambassador, Turkey's ambassador in Sudan, of course. So in Sudan, he lives what is, economic weakness and stuff. But in Turkey, we don't have it. We have a major. After I welcome, I just want to give voice to Mr. Mehmet Akif, and then I'll come back to Sefirne, our ambassador. Welcome first. And Mr. Mehmet Akif, you want to add something, comment?
Sorry, Professor, for some time I was unable to hear. I'm not sure. Thank you for adding me, and I am looking forward to your permission to talk.
Yes,
Thanks.
after a while, after Mehmet Akif, after the ambassador also, welcome again. Mr. Mehmet Akif, yes, go ahead.
I will not go for financial comments, mostly because it took 7 years and a half to finish my graduation from Marmara University, and the department was economy, actually. By profession, I am a travel agent. My point of view is the symbolic representation of dollar in Turkey. By the opposite parties, the exchange rate of dollar is mostly used a propaganda tool against our government. So I believe they lost that tool tonight with the announced new measures of our president announced tonight. I hope. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, but it is interrupting.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So by tonight's measures announced by our president, inshallah, we will be more strong on our exchange, and by the investments and the productions in Turkey and by the export of Turkey, we will recover in a short term, inshallah.
Inshallah, thank you very much. In the meantime, we lost our ambassador, but he will come back. And anyway, Dr. Tarek, welcome.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed.
And you and me, we were discussing Middle East, but this time it is the greater Middle East. I want to just give you an insight why they call it the Middle East from history, if you don't mind. Because in the Ottoman time, they called the Ottoman Empire as the sick man of Europe. This is one naming. The other one would be the Eastern question. So when the Western powers want to dismantle or destroy the Ottoman Empire, they call it the East. Eastern question. So the question of the East. When they destroy it during the First World War, so of course this region, mostly the Muslim region with Arabs and Turks and Kurds, it remained nameless. So of course they used to call it East and Eastern question. They want to say it in East, but of course they have Far East, they have Near East. Near East would be Europe, and the Far East would be India and China. So this middle region, which is mostly the Ottoman areas became the Middle East. So we are directly the focus of this naming, and as a kind of insight. Dr. Tarek, please go ahead. You hear me or not? Dr. Tarek Shender, did I lose you? Mr. Era, maybe you can add the second question, or you can add your comment if you like. Or we can, or do I have a sound problem myself? Dr. Tarek, he exit and coming back. Dr. Tarek also.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Just, I think, يعني, there is a problem in the system, and the Twitter system, or maybe they try to break down this room, whatever. Thank you, Professor Ahmed, about this room. Actually, I was thinking to call you to open a room like this, but you are always on time and do it. Thank you very much. Actually, we are very happy tonight to hear what happened. The lira is rising against dollar about 30%. It is very important issues for people who are coming to Turkey to invest, and it is very important too for Turkish people. And I think this step is very important to all the world to know that is the situation in Turkey, or the exchange, and when the dollar is going up against the lira, it is not because the economic is weak in Turkey, but it is, I think, or I am sure now, was economic war. Economic war. So now, after the speech of the President Erdogan and the rising of the lira, all agree with me, I think. I am still waiting to hear lots of discussion about this issue, but I can say, and I am 100% positive about that, lots of Arabic people and people who want to invest in Turkey are very happy now in this moment. Thank you, Professor Ahmed. We will be together and to hear, and we'll discuss later.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Tarek. As I said, there is kind of unstable situation in the room tonight. Is it Twitter? Is it the internet connection? I also fell down off a couple of times. Mr. Adam, we have Mehmet Pelik from Daily Sabah. I think he want to comment on the developments as a journalist. Mr. Mehmet, welcome, and
good evening.
How you comment? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. Hello to everyone. And I think one thing is for sure that we, when you look at the either side of the spectrum, whether those who support the AK Party or those who are against AK Party, be it at the national level or international level, I think there was a consensus that this, the fluctuation in the currency, in the dollar, was a psychological moment. It was not something that was a reflection of macroeconomic indicators. I think this was something that now with tonight's President Erdogan's speech, I think partially this has been actually proven, and there's an effort to overcome that psychological factor. The other thing is, I think one thing is for sure here, and this has been the case for the past 20 years, is our President Erdogan's political genius, his ability to turn things around when there's a crisis. I think this is something important that we need to highlight. And this is not the first time. Previous speakers also mentioned that this is not the first time he has been able to maneuver around a crisis, be it a political crisis or an economic crisis, or even security crisis with terror or with events in northern Syria. I think the fact that he has been he's been able to overcome one of these crisis moments is a great reflection of his political genuity and him being a political genius, built on years of experience as a political leader at both national level and also international level. He knows that these economic fluctuations and the past few months currency crisis is not something that's just based on national economic factors. So in tonight's speech, I think, the fact that he highlighted that, yes, there is some, some factors that need to be dealt with at the national level. I think he also gave messages to the international community, as international business community, when he was talking. I think these are some of the comments that needed to be highlighted, and that's just my 2 cents for
Yes,
I'm not an economist.
Yes, but you following the politics also. Erdogan
Yes.
is a survivor. He won many elections. He challenged the coup. He also preparing for a major turning point, which is 2023, which is almost like a year and a half now. Does it? I mean, sometime he's trying to reduce the dollar. It was rising, and people say, why he does this? Is he gambling, or is he risking? But in the foreign policy, I am also following the foreign policy in the Middle East, with trying to maneuver between America and Russia and China and Europe, etc. And he's becoming from the Davutoğlu time, or maybe like idealistic or emotional times, toward the more rational but principled rationalism he's following in the foreign policy, which is more reconciliation and more reducing the problems, the approach. But in economy, like some people say, it's going the wrong direction. I was always questioning. It doesn't make sense for a leader, more like he's focused on winning the election. And gambling is not a part of it. It should be like calculative study. But of course, the challenges, reaction, action, and others' actions and his reactions, or his actions and other reaction effect. But as a leader, do you think he is like a gambler in economy, in politics?
Well, I think he knows what he's doing. Yes, he's taking a risk when it comes to the upcoming elections. If he will be able to turn around things economically, this is a political risk. He even mentioned that he is taking a risk, but this is in the long term. This is something that the country itself will need, the state itself will need, and this will serve the benefits of the people. He believes that for the long term. So I think, yes, he says this is a political risk when it comes to the elections, but I think he's not a leader that just makes all his calculations for the upcoming elections and not for the decades to come, or if not the centuries to come. If this was the case, he wouldn't have the 2023 goal, 2051 goal, or 2071 goal. He is a visionary leader. I think yes, he does take these risks, but they're calculated risks when it comes to for the upcoming elections, for example. These are calculated risks, but they're risks that can go wrong if something beyond these calculations were to happen. Pandemic was one of them, I think. We know about the pandemic past few years, past 3-4 years. We didn't know about that. This is something that had come and affected everyone similarly. This is, again, President Erdogan, I think he has a vision for the country, so he does not necessarily just makes all his calculations based on the 2023 elections, but he's very well aware that this is a major turning point, given the economic hardships of the past couple of years, and it is also very visible that the support is not as strong as previous elections, although he's the ultimate number one when it comes to all the voter counts at the moment. Still, despite all these pandemic effect, despite all the fact that the economy has been this hard in the past year or so, But still, everyone still sees the hope in Erdogan. If there was anyone to be solving these problems, who is capable of solving Turkish economic problems? People still point to President Erdogan. I mean, he's still without an alternative, I think, despite the fact that the support for him has been decreasing, in the past few past year or past few months. But still, he makes his calculations and risks for the long term that will benefit. I mean, this whole new economic model, this is not just to win an election. This is something that he foresees that will benefit the people of this country for the decades to come. He doesn't want to be dependent on just money that comes from outside. He wants to be producing Turkey to be a producing country, Turkey to be a manufacturing country, Turkey to be an exporting country with value added items. I mean, not just simply we can't just solely rely on tourism for as an economic support. So I think, yes, he's taking a political risk, but I think it's a calculated one. Also, he does not just his idea is not just to win an election simply. I think it's more than that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And we
Sorry,
know,
Professor, I have just 2 sentences to add to that question. Mr. Tayyip Erdogan never been a populist politician, and he never been a gambler, actually. Sometimes he especially states that in his statements, I will solve this problem in expense to all my political career. Remember in 2011 or 12, he said, for the Kurdish problem we have, he stated openly that I will solve this problem even it's in expense of my entire political career. Thank you.
Thank you. Two also comments. One, Erdogan, when he gambles or takes some risk, he generally risks for the benefit of the people, not to hurt people so that he can hurt himself economically or election-wise. So we haven't, I mean, he's not in for punishing people and destroying the economy at the end, destroy himself. He's not that stupid. I mean, if you forgive my language. Yes, Mr. Dr. Wasif, welcome and go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Professor Ahmed. I am joining today from Calgary, Canada. So this time I am postdoc here in teaching and learning. Before I spent time in Pakistan and established a Center for Sustainable Development in Lahore, Pakistan. So like I've been writing, I've been talking about the complex economic issues prevailing in our region. So I am outsider in terms of Turkey, but I would say I must need to appreciate that you organized this space. Second, some good hopes are coming that Turkey is really performing well in terms of the Lira is getting, the momentum well. So we must appreciate the role, the play different countries, especially, some of the good gestures between Turkey and UAE. So these all things unanimously contributing toward, the uplift of currencies and the economic side. Well, so I always advocating and I've been talking about, the regional connectivity. In terms of, today's Turkey, same case of Pakistan, I belong to Pakistan. We are not, the well connected as it has to be in the region. Well, for sustainable development, for sustainable, the economic future, regional connectivity is the most important part. So in the case of Turkey, one side Syria, other side, the Armenian case and problem. And sorry, my kids are.
Your kids are not fighting, I hope.
So in terms of the regional connectivity, on other side Iran, the sanctions and everything. So everything is a hurdle towards sustainable development, right? So which I would say, well, this is not the right time to speak more. Quickly, I will point, 2-3 things for Turkey. Turkey should vision economic future in the East. Second, at one point, there was a train link between Islamabad and Istanbul, train, all the way from Islamabad to Tehran and then, Istanbul. This was a connection. On other side, Turkey has a soft power in all this region, and historically in Islamic golden age, this was the region where was the Samarkand, Bukhara, even Isfahan, and even Multan, Lahore, the big cultural and economic centers for the empires. The three empires the Turkish people were leading at that time, right? But unfortunately, at this time, this is the least connected region, right? Though we have the civilization similarities, language, cultural, everything, lot of other commonalities we have, but we are not connected in terms of economy. For sustainable economic future, we should think about, differently how to overcome the conflicts in the region. Minimum, we should open each other, for the more businesses. Otherwise, something politically happened and suddenly Pakistani currency is going down. Suddenly something happened politically opposing something on the, the global scene. And suddenly, like Turkey, we are victim of the, some of the economic crisis and things like that. So I would say, through the community engagements, through the people-to-people engagements, cultural engagements, through the businesses, we should engage more with each other. Pakistan, we are the 5th largest population in the globe, right? In terms of youth, vibrant youth, in terms of, the IT and, a lot of other things. Great potential over here. We are neighbor with China, enjoying really good relations. So China is like upcoming, the economic power. On the other side, we have no problem with our neighbors. Even Iranian people, they enjoy the most soft image in Pakistan, right? So same the Turkey, like the best, the Turkish dramas, Turkish movies, Turkish people, the business people, if they coming, going. So I would like to conclude with 2 things. Always region develop, not the countries.
Dr. Wasif, just before you complete, please, I think there is, some irregularities in the Twitter today, either maybe like an attack on the space. Please retweet if you can kindly retweet my last tweet would be very appreciative, because somehow the numbers decrease like seriously. I think because of maybe some attacks or something. Please retweet or share as you like the room. And thank you very much. Dr. Wasif, please go complete.
Well, sure, I'll do that. Appreciated, Professor, for letting me know. Well, 2 points. We should work more for the, regions develop, not the countries. Otherwise, we will be the victim, the same sometime happening in Turkey, sometime happening in Pakistan. Currency is going down and, other economic issues and problems and the constraints. We should work to diffuse the conflicts. Well, and third, more open, the economic liberalization in this region. We should work more closely, because region develop, my main message, like European Union, ASEAN, the Eastern Asia, like Japan, Taiwan, and China. Even with everything, all the conflicts, they are integrated, the economically. But this is not the case of this region. We should work more to for sustainable economic future. We should integrate with each other, right? So that will be the right way to overcome the the economic pressures we are facing many times, right? Thank you so much for this opportunity, Professor. I would
thank you, Dr. Wasif. And we are in the global world, and of course we have very common history, common culture, Muslim culture, very good feelings for each other, all the way from India, East Asia, to all the way to the West, and we are appreciative. I think the point is to to increase the South-South trade and relations. We are missing that. And mostly we had the African summit just the other day in Istanbul. The trade between African countries are very low. The trade between Africa and Turkey and other Muslim countries are not at the required, necessary level, desired level, and we need to improve this trade between the southern countries like Turkey and Pakistan, Turkey and the Arab world, Pakistan and Africa, all other. We need to depend on ourselves. So this is, I think, a good point. Economy is not only just you find the cheapest place, but you need to have a stable relationship and not all the time money. The traders or the selfish capitalism, they sell even like when you are dying, they want to sell the water, but we are have a different understanding for this economy, helping brothers and sisters, earning together, etc. We need also the different approach. So
just a little reminder, Mr. Çavuşoğlu, our foreign minister, is already in Pakistan, as you know, for Afghanistan talks. And we shouldn't forget that Turkey's approach is not colonial, actually, mostly based on win-win situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we want to win together. We prove that very often in Africa, for example. Turkey's investment is to win together, to invest in these places, to also transfer experience and also help them if they need help. So it is mutual. But Westerners, like just one example, in the Sahel region, which is the Sahara region, desert region in Africa, they produce uranium, and they take this to nuclear power plants in Europe, and with several grams they produce thousands of megawatts of electricity. But the same African people remain in dark. I just had a friend from Niger. He said sub-Saharan Africa, half of them remains without electricity. Can you imagine that? This is like they are buying this. 1 gram maybe is equal to millions of dollars, because they are, if you measure it with the value of a megawatt, it's a huge value they are producing. But Europeans don't give any money to these people. But most of the enriching, also they have facilities enriching this uranium in Africa, and African people also suffering from this radiation and cancerogenic diseases. They are suffering and they're not gaining anything. So this politics, Western politics, already corrupt or destroyed the region and has nothing to offer. So that's the situation. Mr. Omar. Yes, your comment, please. Yes, any other opinion?
Professor Ahmed, can I give just
Yes.
when we are talking about that Mr. The president or the cabinet doing gambling or what's mean? I don't think so, because what I think that it is that President Erdogan know what he's doing. The cabinet knows very well what he's doing. Don't forget that Mr. Erdogan was studied economic, and he's expert indeed. Büyük Şehir Istanbul Belediye, and he was the prime minister. And secondly, I think the new Minister of Finance, Nuruddin Nabati, he's expert too. He is very expert person in economic and finance. So I think when he's coming now to be the Minister of Finance, I think Mr. Erdogan knows what he's doing. Bring a specialist person to this position. Just I want to give this information.
Yes, he's also from the. I mean, he has before politics. He has experience in.
We lose your voice, Professor Ahmed. Can you open
Okay,
the?
it was often I close myself. Sorry. He comes from also a business background, so he was pretty much into the society. He's grow with Turkish society, and then do business, to sports, all kinds of. So he's also like he knows the business, but he's with the people. He's not like a leader in the Arab world. We see it a lot. For example, Mubarak, he never joined the public. He has he doesn't have any picture with the public. Always in the setup situation.
Mubarak let the people in Egypt bring money and they take all the money. That's it.
No, I mean, just one example, because
Yeah.
he doesn't enter among the people, but Erdogan, he always also talks to people. Sometimes stop by, talk to the taxi driver or a market.
He live with the people, and especially in Istanbul.
Yes.
And
may I add just one comment here, actually, about
Sure.
President Erdogan's style and how he touches people. I think something that happened tonight is a true reflection of that, and that was after his speech, $1 billion US dollar worth of money was exchanged into Turkish Lira, and this is not something, because this wasn't. I mean, of course, this is due to his speech and the economic steps that he is announcing, but I think it also has I think it also has to do with the fact that people trust in what he says because of this connection that you two are talking about, and this is something he has built since he was a mayor of Istanbul. This is not something that he just says, and in his few economic remarks, and people are actually flocking to exchange their money to Turkish lira. I think this has to do with the fact that he touches with people, despite some of ups and downs in economy, and people still trust in what he says, and this is the fact that $1 billion was exchanged into Turkish lira is a reflection of people's trust in what he says, and that's
It's only one bank, Mr. Mehmet. I want to say that it's only in Ziraat Bank in Turkey, the
Yes.
amount.
Yes, there's still discussion, how this will be covered, but he just discouraged that because this becomes like self promoting in a way. Dollar. If people will believe dollar will rise, then dollar begins to rise, and he wanna disrupt this cycle, saying, we will cover if you invest or if you deposit the money in a bank and your money loses the value, and we will cover it by the Turkish from the Turkish Treasury. So this gives the confidence that at least those who have nothing to do with dollar should not buy a dollar. That's the logic. But the package also includes some actions, not only. I think we focus on dollar, give some confidence to the exporters, saying we will set a definite rate for the dollar, so you can when you export you give like certain price depending on the government. If it fluctuates, it's not going to be affected by the government, and so there is a state guarantee on exports. This is a good thing. Also increase the scholarships for bachelors. It's like scholarships and credits for to study, which is a serious import. I mean, for development, you need education and educated people, and that's very good, very encouraging, because he's promised 850 lira for bachelors, 1,700 lira for master students, and 2,550 liras for doctoral students, so PhD students. This is about 30% increase from the last year. So very much encouraging for the for the students and to encourage education, which is part of the development also. And as a professor, of course, we get scholarship we get the salary from the government. I am teaching at Istanbul University also. So he said we will, of course, a major portion of the salary goes to taxes. He said he will reduce the amount of taxes from the salary. So me or other officials will have, or state civil servants, they will be less affected by this inflation and the rise of dollar. So it's multi-aspected, but it's a package that will, give more confidence. Also, will citizen-oriented orientation will continue. Of course, as I said, going just 1 year before the elections, he doesn't want to gamble for his whole career, because he built a big legacy, and he doesn't want to destroy, of course, this. But he is, of course, the waves and the attacks and other. Biden said it. If we, as an academician, I will share it maybe in a minute, what Biden said officially about to topple Erdogan, as if like an American president's business to decide who is going to be Turkey's president or not. So this is not a conspiracy. This is like well stated from the highest mouth. Before the election, Biden said that. I'm gonna share it, but in the meantime, we have any other opinion, Mr.
We can't hear you, Professor.
Oh, okay. Just now or for a while?
No, now it's okay.
Okay. If it dragged too long, anyway, I wanna ask Mr. Erem also. Did you hear that I was gonna share Biden's speech, or did I speak?
Yeah, until this time we're here. You.
Yes. Okay. So, Mr. Erem, are you there? He's also following this technical stuff, drones.
There's a problem with the connection and the sound.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fell off. Yeah, very interesting tonight. I fell more than 5 times. Something wrong tonight. Anybody want to comment? Mr. Erem?
Yeah, actually, Professor, if you allow me. Actually, what happened tonight, I believe that it's one more proof that it's not normal things what happening in the currency, the Turkish lira. It's for sure. For me, as a Turkish citizen, I know that there is attacking from America, and as you said before a few seconds, Professor, that Biden, he said it actually. He says it officially. We heard that, and we know that that it's not something normal, because even the currency that raised it tonight, it's not normal actually. So this is one more proof that
And so
all this
what
is
I think
just
we should
a
be
play,
doing
it's
is
just a game. It's just a war, because they don't want our government or our people to have their own call, their own
Sevgili izleyiciler, 3 Kasım'da Donald Trump'la
the people, for the country. And maybe because Turkey right now, our government, we have a loud voice actually in the region right now. We are saying enough. We are saying enough. No one else, I think, but Turkey in these days, speaking in a loud voice and saying enough. Stop stealing Africa. Stop stealing, destroying the Middle East, the Arab countries. the Balkan. I think this is the main
And
reason,
so
because
what
they
I
want
think we should be
someone like,
doing is taking a
I'm
very
sorry,
different
maybe
approach to
someone who
him
won't like
now,
that, but
making it clear
they call
that
the people
we
that they
support
following them our
opposition
dogs.
leadership,
They want
making it
someone
clear
who,
that we are in a
they can
position
call
where
them our
we
dogs
have
or
a
our
way
men
in
or
which
whatever
was
you
working
wanted
for a while
to use.
to integrate the
Thanks
Kurdish
God we are not.
population who wanted to
We
participate in
supporting
the
our
process
government. We trust in our
in their parliament, etc.
leader. And
Because we have to
for
speak
also
out
Mr.
about what we
maybe
in fact
Mehmet
think are wrong. He
Çelik,
has to pay a price.
he said
He has to pay
maybe
a price
Erdogan
for
is gambling.
whether or not
Actually,
we're going to
gambling,
continue to sell certain
it's
weapons
not
to
what
him. In fact, if
Erdogan
he
do,
has the air defense
because
system,
he knows
No, I
what
think I was
he's doing.
to see how
misunderstood.
they can
I think
try
I
to
was
figure out how to do
misunderstood.
it.
I didn't
So
say
I'm
that
very
he's
concerned about it.
gambling.
I'm very concerned about
Okay,
it.
I'm sorry,
But I'm still of the view
because someone's
that if
I
we
heard
were to
that
engage
maybe
more directly like
he's
I was
gambling,
doing
because
with them,
gambling it's
that we
doing
can
something
support
and
those
you do
elements of
not
the Turkish
know, or you don't
leadership
have
that still exist
100%
and
results. You
get
will not know.
more
It's
from
maybe yes,
them and
maybe no.
embolden
50%,
them to
50%,
be
maybe
able to
less than
take
that.
on and defeat
But
Erdogan,
as
not
he
by a
said,
coup,
actually,
not
Erdogan,
by a
before a
coup,
few days
but by the
ago,
electoral process.
I have
He
a
got
very
blown
big
out. He got
experience
blown
as
out
a
in
leadership.
Istanbul. He got blown out
I
of his
met a
party.
lot,
And so what
and
do
we
we
lived
do?
a lot
Now,
in the
we just sit there and
when he
you
was the
yielded.
mayor
The
for
last thing I would have
Istanbul
done
and the prime
is yielded
minister,
to him with
and of
regard to the
course
Kurds.
the president.
The absolute last thing.
So
And I had
I'm
a
pretty
couple of
sure, and
those
also he
meetings with him
said
about the
that
Kurds,
we
and they
don't
did not
make
clamp
any
down at the
decision
time.
before we
And anyway,
calculate it.
so we have to make
I
it
trust in
clear
that.
that if
And
they're looking
what
to,
he's
because at the end of
doing,
the day,
actually, it's
Turkey
make us
doesn't
to
want to
trust
have to
him.
rely on Russia.
This
They've had
is
a
just
bite out
what
of
I
that apple a
wanted to
long
say,
time ago.
that
But they got to
it's
understand that
one
we're
more
not going to
proof for
continue
these
to play
people
with
who
them
are
the way
saying
we
that
have.
the Turkish
So I am very
economy
concerned.
is
I am very
failing
concerned.
down,
I'm
and
very concerned
I
about
don't know
our
what.
airfields and access to
I
them as
think this is very clear point tonight. How much the Turkish lira is raised the dollar. So this is no doubt, actually, it's not something normal. It's something someone who's pressing a button and to make some attack on our economy. But I'm pretty sure we believe in our leadership. Before that, we believe in Allah, in God, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna win this war as we did before. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mehmet Bey. We have also Çetin Kaya. He's an engineer. He's also knows these games and internet part, economic part. Please go ahead and welcome. Çetin Bey, you hear me? Çetin Kaya Bey.
Evet, şu anda açtım mikrofonumu. Çok
Tamam,
teşekkür
duyuyoruz
ederim
hocam.
Ahmet Hocam. Thank you very much, everyone. And
You.
I have joined this conversation. I started listening about 10 minutes ago. I don't know all parts of it, but I have one question. There's a new account system, bank account system, which I read it as dövize çevrilebilir mevduat, FX denominated, a bank accounts. It's as I understood, it's very good for exporters and importers in Turkey. It's really good for business. But I wonder if it really will block the speculators. And I'm also wondering whether the government is really planning to take action on imported money and by just simply following where it went and how it is used. I am sure they can easily follow that. Foreign exchange is such a touchy matter for Americans. For example, I cannot really easily buy, let's say, euros or Mexican pesos. You have to go to bank and make a request. You have to wait for 2-3 days, and anything over $10,000, either taking in or getting out, you have to really declare it. But in Turkey, the last 50 years, and the foreign money, mostly the dollars and later on the euros, have become an instrument of investment. This is what needs to change. We need to really find ways for people not to think that way. And I don't know what that is. And I know that Özal somewhat sort of opened up the gates. But before Özal, he had to do it. It was completely like black market. People had to hide their money, and Özal didn't really think that was a good idea for that time. And now we're at another juncture. This time, having foreign money so easily exchanged within Turkey, opening an account is unthinkable in the U.S., in Germany, in every other countries except perhaps Switzerland. Which we know what kind of country it is. And I've been in China for the last 2 months. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of control of the money it is there. We don't have to be China, but we don't have to be Turkey either. The current Turkey is really unacceptable. We have to really find a way to discourage people for using foreign exchange as a method of investment, a method of saving money. And this is the part that really, really bothers me, because I've also been away from Turkey for a long time, used to living in the US and partially in China and partially in Europe. And so these are the words I will say, a couple of words. But I also want to add that if anybody can solve this 50-year-old rooted problems of finance, it would be Erdogan. I don't believe anyone else can or could have or would even attempt to solve this problem. We have to address this problem. We have to essentially make the foreign money only available for people who are in the import-export business. And otherwise, it should be really off limits to regular citizens. I also hear all those foreign exchange sellers, in the street corners. More than 80% of them are actually illegal. I heard that from someone who knows it. God, what is this? We can't let this happen. What is it? It's just like a Wild West in terms of the finance. Turkey has to bring its act together. This is the last bastion of imperialism, I believe, that Turkey has to break its knees so that we can proceed building our own industry, building our own tourism, building our own defense industry so that we can actually defend our country. That's about it. Sorry, I'm a little bit excited about this. Yeah.
It's not about
Sorry,
it.
can I go ahead from where Mr. Chetin?
Mr. Akif, 1 second. I wanna ask more question on Chetin Bey, because he came also as living in America and in China, having a little bit weaker lira in these hard days. I think is even maybe sometime preferable, or kind of you can tolerate, to encourage your export, your tourism, etc., which is China is doing. Also, America is complaining about it. But the pressure on Turkey is like to destroy not to weaken, but to destroy all the balances, to cause panic, and there is no reason to panic in Turkey. And the dominance of dollar also in China has a lot of dollars. Can you comment on this?
I can comment on it. I have bank accounts in China. You cannot open a dollar-denominated account. If you want to send your money from your bank account in China to the U.S., it's limited to $50,000 a year. You cannot send any more than that. You cannot ask the bank to give you even $50 in cash. That's not even allowed. China, this is, FX money is not available for regular people in China. If it's available for banks or for bigger organizations, there are different kinds of rules in China.
In many countries, I also saw that, this exchange is not available. You go to bank to get a foreign currency. In Turkey, it is like everywhere. I mean, it's not widely used, but it is available. I mean, it is. So if in the case of panic or pressure or something, people wanna feel secure with dollar, but this is like a vicious circle. At the end, it causes unemployment. It causes stocking extra unnecessary goods and stuff. So at the end, it is bad, yani. But inshallah, we'll fix it. We also need to build confidence. Mr. Akif, please go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Sheffield.
Professor, I want to actually remind one point to our brothers and sisters who are not familiar to our domestic politics. As you know, in the near past, Mr. Erdogan called this an independence economic war, right? Most of us thought that it's a kind of motivational metaphor, but it was indeed an independence war for us economically. How? As you remember, in the coup attempt, we came to know that these FETÖ Gülenist terrorists use US dollar, $1 US dollar bills as the crypto password between them. Remember?
Yes.
And but for those who don't know, because each dollar bill has a serial number, they use to disguise themselves. They use it as a passcode. When they show each other like a dollar bill, it was like a kind of a passcode. I mean, in a secret gate opener. Ordinary people wouldn't know. What
but
they mean,
between them, it was a passcode.
Yeah, it's like a signal. Yeah.
So we understand that these imperials or colonials, whatever you call, used US dollar first as a password in this war. Now they are using as a weapon, and they're using the dollar again. So it's not only a motivational metaphor for us, it's a real independence war against the dollarization of the entire market, actually. And not only Turkey, China, or Europe has to find a solution for this dollarization of the market, actually.
Yes. Any other comment? I think it's if you have your last comments, Mr. Aram or Dr. Tarek.
No, I want to say I am very happy to listen this conversation and I am hearing that Turkish people are not pessimist or optimist and they're happy that Turkish lira is rising against dollars, and they know that is a world economic war against Turkey because Turkish economy is very strong. Turkey doesn't need to import anything from overseas. Otherwise, Turkey export lots of issues to overseas, and that is the strong of the economic Turkish. Let me give you example, Professor. We are in Lebanon have the same situation in lira. We are the Lebanese lira lose about 90% from their value against dollars. But we are now in bad situation in Lebanon because we don't have electricity, we don't have medical system, all shut down. All our foods are is coming from overseas. We have to pay in dollars. But here in Turkey is different because here in Turkey everything is coming from Turkish market. We don't have to bring anything from overseas. Turkey have enough issues to be stable in the stock market for everything. So that is the difference. I think the Turkish economy is very strong, and the war is a politics war. And I think the government will win, inshallah, and the Turkish people all will win, but we need just to be patient and it will need times. That's it.
Yes, thank you. Inshallah.
May I just add a couple more words, if I may?
Sure. Inshallah, Lebanon also will get better.
Inshallah.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it's important to also note that these attacks will not just stop with these economic. If we overcome this, another attack will come, because this is an ongoing struggle against the imperial, against the President Erdogan says that the world is bigger than 5, and as long as he says that, these attacks will continue. And I think The other thing that we need to highlight is the importance of the upcoming elections in 2023. I think they're not just important for Turkey; it's important for the whole region and as well as the Muslim world. I believe this is a major turning point for Turkey, and its results and how they will implicate for Turkish politics and the region is something that will need to follow closely and pay attention to, because it is for the regional stability, for Turkish stability, political stability. I think it's a turning point. One thing that also the third thing I want to highlight is the strength of Turkish democracy, regardless of all these attacks against it. I think the democracy prevails at the end in Turkey. And I think it is one of our our nation's strengths. The fact that we were able to stand against a military, a bloody coup by the outsiders. I think it's despite these attacks, what keeps us together is the strength of our democracy at the same time. And have a good night, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mehmet. And really, the democracy is working very full speed, and one of the major achievements of Turkish democracy is to impose civilian willpower on the military, which is a very hard thing and very seldom thing that happens. And we managed that now. Before, even like major share of the budget was going to military expenses, and civilians, even there was some selected politicians couldn't decide, how much money will go to the military, because the military had the upper hand in like some other countries in the region. Now the civilians decide how much money will go to education, how much money will go to military and stuff. This is a major achievement. And, there is America support dictators, Europeans also the same. And when it comes to they say Erdogan is a dictator, but what kind of a dictator Erdogan is, that he is worried about the upcoming elections. No dictators worry about the elections. They are making sure that there is no opposition or there is no alternative. Erdogan is worried about the elections. This is like open and free, fair competition will be, and he's still leading the scene. His party is number one. Even his popularity is above the party. So as a person, he's more popular than his party. But they blame his dictator, and America makes a summit for democracies. They invite all kinds of non-democratic countries, and they don't invite Turkey. This is like a nonsense, yani, if I don't want to use a bad word. But this is like a stupid thing, and in response, Pakistan also boycotted the summit as like something useless or propaganda machine. At the end, it didn't make any sound, any voice, any. But we see the double standard. We know energy. Turkey is buying a lot of energy from outside, natural gas, oil, also. But recently, it was half of the electricity was produced by natural gas. The level is decreasing. Turkey is also moving toward the renewable energies, and it's the share of the renewables reached 20% of the Turkey's energy use, electricity use, which is a big boost. Investing, I know Turkey invested a lot in wind power, solar power, etc. So we are also balancing the export-import deficit. But of course, the fight is not over, as Mr. Mehmet said. We will maybe win this one, but they will never stop. They will come at Turkey. Of course, they are worried also more about the rise of China, and Turkey is trying to be a balance between all powers, but they want like independent. They want a puppet to listen to what they say, but they don't give anything in return. Also, that's the problem. If you are like an ally, you consider what your ally says and wants, and no, they just want one direction. They want to impose and they want to tell what to do and then expect you to do. And of course, this was the Turkey of the past. It is over now. Turkey wants to sit in the table and discuss, negotiate, give and take, not only one-sided, but they are missing this Turkey for a while now. They are forcing this to all Turkey come back and listen to what they say. No, I don't think it is reversible. And I want to have last comments, please. Anybody can talk.
Just 1 minute, please, Dr. Professor Ahmed. Just like observer, and I'm a watcher or observer, I am from overseas, not from Turkey. Let me say to all Turkish friends in this room, how can Arabic people look to Turkey now? Actually, I am not say something, it's not true. We are saying what we are feeling in the most Arabic countries. We are looking to Turkey like it is our hope in democratic, in even in economic, even in how they deal with the political issues with the other world. So Turkey for us is a hope, and we hope sure to see this country safe and grow up more and more and more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we stop, maybe I want to ask Dr. Wasif, with Corona, everybody gets affected. And how is the West, and especially Canada and America, they are not also safe from the side effects of this Corona pandemic. And if you can comment on this, please go ahead.
Yeah, appreciated, Professor. I am here in Calgary, and this is pretty normal when we are going outside to get the groceries, to visit the superstores. Shelves are empty. Before we buying something in $6, in $6, now we are unable to get even in 16. Same for the stuff, we belong to South Asia. A lot of the South Asian groceries, vegetables, spices, masalas coming. Well, so before we were getting just in $2-3, for per item. Now, like almost our grocery budget has been doubled this time, right? So this is a big problem. And the recent disaster in British Columbia. After that disaster, some of the supply chain issues all over, the Canada, because of the Pacific Ocean, all of the supplies are coming there. And, the major part of Canada. This is the one problem. Second is pandemic. Third, again, travel advisories, things are not, mobility is not, so good between the US and Canada this time. Well, so I would say the high prices, even for the things we purchase for our daily usage, we supposed to use for, the milk for our kids, veggies stuff, and the fruits, and, the everything. Well, so almost, the double this time. Well, so somehow many, the Pakistani friends are here. I was looking like still, even in our country, things are in control, but things are out of control here in Canada. And
Thank you.
Yeah, and just a quick last comment. We should understand the worth of, the peace. Somehow Islamic world conflicts and, the same Turkish world, South Asian conflicts, right? So as a Pakistani, I want to convey a message to my fellow brothers from Turkey. Well, we paid the cost, which wars have in the last 20 years, Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, Turkey, they developed, but we were the victim of, violence and terror, right? And all that was happening, through the Western side. This is our perspective. There is a chance to differ. Well, so for us, it is important. We don't care who is ruling Afghanistan. We want there should be peace in Afghanistan. There should not be any, violence, political interference from, the militancy and interference from Afghanistan to Pakistan. Same for the case of, the Iran. We don't care who is ruling Iran. We want to integrate with them in economically, right? So this is which I would say the Pakistani perspective at this time. In last 20 years, when our fellow nations were developing economically and everything, we were the victim of the intervention. That was not ours, right? We have nothing to do with that intervention which happened over there in that region. So my humble request, like my fellow scholars, academicians in the Turkey, they should understand our perspective enough. Like, we should, talk more about, any sort of violence should not be there. If we are okay with the kingdoms, right? So we should be okay with the other things as well. Peace is important. First of all is, with evolution, a lot of other ways to, do the things. So I believe I conveyed my message. Appreciated Dr. Ahmed for providing me this opportunity. Appreciated my fellow brothers, my fellow experts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We have a special feeling for Pakistan and, brothers and sisters in the Indian subcontinent. We have common roots and we have also common culture, a lot of things in history also today, and wish you the best. And thanks for the comment.
Professor, if you allow me, I wanted to say one last thing.
Sure.
I wanted to say to Mr. Tariq, and for all people who believes in Turkey, he said before a few seconds that they see Turkey as a hope. Actually, we know that, and don't worry, we know that, and we will never disappoint you. Actually, we will never let you down. We will support our government. We are strong. We know that it's a war, and we will win it, inshallah, because we believe in Allah. We are on the right road, and your dream that to see Turkey much better and to be even like Turkey, inshallah, in Lebanon and in other countries also, like Africa and different places. Don't worry, we will never let you down. We know the reality of the things. We know who's supporting who, why he attacking us, and why he calling our president as a dictator, because we are producing our weapons, we are producing our medicine, and of course our clothes and everything, alhamdulillah. So it's just about time, as you said, Mr. Tariq, it's just about time. We know that, and we will never let you down. Don't worry about this.
Can I answer, Professor Ahmed?
Sure.
I want to say thank you to Mr. Mohammed about this feeling, and I appreciate that. I know you are say that this feeling from your from your heart, as we said in Lebanese issue. But let me tell you, you are right, and what I am saying is from my heart too. But I don't want to Turkish government support my government, because my government is stole the money. I know Turkish support the Lebanese people, the all people, they support the people, not the government, and that what we need, and was that what Turkish did actually through after the explosion of Beirut.
Yeah, exactly. They come and they give the
yes. So, but for governments in Arabic world, they stole some money, they stole their people. Just I want to.
We believe in the people in the Arabic world, actually,
Yes.
not in the governments.
Yeah.
We believe in people.
I know. I just to say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much. We are gonna close it. Mr. Tawfiq, he just joined us, I think, from Yemen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
How did you know I'm from Yemen?
أنا أحكي عربي كمان.
نعم. Yes, I'm from Yemen. I live in the US.
No, I saw the picture. I assume from Yemen, but
my profile, that's true.
Yes, go ahead. No problem.
I am originally from Yemen. I live in the US for the past 25 years. From what I've seen since I lived here, that Western democracy does not fit all societies and all countries. So when the US or the Western media talks about democracy in in Turkey, and they want democracy in Turkey to be a carbon copy of democracy in the U.S. and Western societies or countries. That doesn't really fit, Turkey or other countries. So some people complain about Erdogan or his party being in power for 15 plus years, but that's not a big deal. That's not a problem. The way Erdogan party is running the country is in sync with what the society there likes, and the results are showing. So don't listen. The Turkish people don't listen to the U.S. media, to Western media about how democracy should be. It should be every 5 years a new president. No, it doesn't work that way everywhere. It works in some countries, yes, but not. It's not like one size fits all. Every society, every country has their own aspects. They have their own ways of quote unquote democracy. So Turkey is doing the right thing, and they are moving forward, thanks God. The other thing is now we have fast internet, we have phones, we have multiple social media outlets, and all the information are instant. If you want something, you get it right away. So people are in a big rush to get results, economic results in Turkey. Like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, with information moving very slowly, when you do an economic improvement in a certain country, it takes a while to stabilize the currency, to stabilize the economy. But because of the social media and of how fast internet is moving now, people are also in a big rush to see results tomorrow. No, we want to see results next week, next month. Some results takes years for it to capitalize. So it's just the way the environment right now around the world with the IT and the information moving so fast. People around the world or in Turkey or any other countries, they say, no, we want to see results tomorrow. We want to see results next week. We want the Turkish currency to be better by next month or by next 3 months. And it doesn't work that way. It takes a long time for this thing to prosper and to gain grounds and improve. So that's why the people are always thinking negative. Like, oh, well, the lira is going down. Oh, the lira is going down more. So it takes a long time, but because of the information system now is so fast, people are used to fast information showing up on their phones or on their TV screens. The other thing, or the third point I want to make, this is good, the the spaces and the talks that I've been following you, Professor Ahmed. You join a lot of groups and you talk about Turkey and about the economy, about the democracy and political system. And I and a lot of people like me have learned a lot about Turkey through you and through other Turkish people who join different groups and tell more about what's going on in Turkey. And that makes a lot of difference for us. We have more knowledge now about Turkey and everything else. And it's a good example for the Arab world, for the Muslim world, that Islam and democracy and modernization, they can work together. It's the best Muslim example for everything in terms of economy, in terms of religion, in terms of society, everything. So we are very proud of Turkey. And every single time I talk to people from Yemen or from friends here in the US, they say one thing, they all share one thing, that every time they visit Turkey, they want to live there. They want to move there, including myself. I visit Turkey a couple of times. Every time I go there, I want to move there, and I am planning to move there and start a business there. In fact, I am planning with some friends to start English schools in Turkey, because we've noticed that English is very limited in the general public in Turkey. So we are planning to start English schools there, so that this will be our way to pay back to the Turkish people and to Turkey and to Erdogan and to the Greek people of Turkey. We want to pay back to what they have done so far for their people and for the Middle East and for the Muslims around the world. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tawfiq, brother, and thanks for your good words. We Turks, Arabs, and Kurds live together for 1,000 years. It's not like a joke. It's a long time. We were brothers and sisters, relatives. You know, the colonization divided us into tens of pieces. You know, and we have a very common interest. We have a very common faith. I always tell. And this is your home, and we not only English, you can open an Arabic school also, a good interest in Arabic and a lot of connections now with trade and everything. So always welcome. And we also, especially this Turkish opening to the Arab world economically benefited Turkey a lot because you know, Arab societies have different economies, some of them oil economies, some agriculture. Even I was in Iraq, I said, you know, we need oil and you need, you know, food and industry, for example, but even this is like complementary to each other, our economies, but even for agriculture, now we are in Shita, in winter, like Canada, we don't produce much produce vegetables and fruits in winter, but in Iraq they can produce tomatoes, vegetables, etc. So I said, in summer we sell you, in winter you sell to us. And there are many room for cooperation. As I mentioned, Turkey's economy is not only agriculture. Turkey has a strong industry, producing and exporting a lot, and lowering lira a little bit will encourage, but we don't want, of course, the lira to be destroyed, of course. Tourism is very, very active despite Corona. It was not hit by the pandemic. I visited Morocco, for example, and Tunisia the same. They couldn't deal with Corona very effectively, and they shut down the tourism sector and society very long times. Then the tourism got hurt very, very seriously in Morocco, for example. And Morocco is like tourism and agriculture. So industry is weak, and they are, you know, two sectors. They get affected very negatively. But Turkey is doing well with industry and stuff. And there is also room for investment and trade and etc. And the location of Turkey, of course, between the east and west and north and south provides a good opportunity for trade. But also we are in the middle of the stormy region. We have a lot of conflicts in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, all this. And despite all these, you know, refugees, terror, and drugs or human trafficking, etc., Turkey really is like a safe haven among the stormy region. Alhamdulillah, we thank God for this, but we know it is not taken for granted. It can be protected and it can be worked on. It should be worked on, and we are doing our best. And I appreciate the contributions tonight. And if anyone wants to add at the last second, maybe some last comments. But overall, I really appreciate your time. The speakers as well as the listeners. We live in a global world. Of course, what we do affects everybody, and we are affected by the changes, by the developments around the world, and especially in the region. But we are also affecting what's going on, and we should not stay our hands tied. And that's the purpose we are trying. And just one comment on the maybe Turkish approach to foreign policy. You know, there are possibilities to, and the America and the West, or others like Russia, they invest in wars, in conflicts, and they feast on our weaknesses on the Muslim world. But we have to solve our problems, especially to reduce the problems between different countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, between Arabs and Turks and Kurds, etc. So we are against all kind of fitna or kind of any any chaotic actions or development, so we can live in a peaceful way, and we need to solve our problem by ourselves, because others will not.
They will the deadline when they inshallah they will never, but when they succeed to change Erdogan or the Turkish political the way that the Turkey right now is leading their political, when they succeed to change that, the world will stop. Otherwise, there is no deadline for this matter. Actually, I don't know if you're following. Tonight, the dollar, the Turkish lira has raised more than 35%. So tomorrow, maybe the dollar also will raise. So it's just a war. I don't know if you believe in this or not. We are living in this issue, and we are. Yeah, I'm sure for myself, like my name, I have a small business. I follow the political and the economic, of course, because it's part of our lives. So it's a war. It's 1,000,000%, no doubt. It's just a war. We don't have a economic problem in Turkey, as the other people were saying before, and I'm pretty sure you know that. In Lebanon, for example, or in some different countries, in Venezuela, that they have a real serious economy problem, they are having a problem to buying some stuff from the market. In Turkey, we do not have this issue. If someone he don't have anything to do with dollar, he will sometimes even not know what is the dollar, how the currency is, up or down or something like this. But for the people who are and the media, of course, the media also. They are focusing on this issue, and they are not focusing on the issue of the currency of the Turkish lira. They are focusing on that the economy is going down, it's failing, it's going down, and this is not true. So if you want a deadline for this, when they, inshallah, they will never, but when they will succeed to try to change the government of Turkey, they want someone who will support, who are following them 100%, like the other regions country, actually, as we all know. Only in that time they will maybe stop attacking our economy.
Thank you, Mr. Mahmoud. Just Professor Ahmed, before we finish this conversation, we have now Dr. Rusul Serdar, senior correspondent at Al Jazeera English. Good night, Mr. Rusul.
Oh, good night, guys. I'm sorry. I just saw the title there, and it was quite interesting, so I got in it. But to be honest, I'm not an expert on the economy. Yeah, I might report tomorrow. That's why I'm here, actually, to benefit from the experts. So I'm not an economist, and really, there is nothing that I can contribute. I would rather prefer to be the listener here.
Just like you are a watcher, what do you think about Turkish lira is rising about 30% tonight?
Well, really, there is
feelings, Doctor.
Look, it is at the end of the day, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm working for Al Jazeera Media Network, but I'm a Turkish citizen as well, and have lots of concerns about my own country. And I want to see the Turkish economy being on the right track. So it's quite nice to see that Turkish lira is gaining the value against the USD, because mostly what we have seen through the trajectory of the events, it was actually the opposite of that through the last couple of months. So it is something that is giving a hope. But the issue here, whether this is going to stay as stable as it was today. So this fluctuation is one of the main issues. So what I can feel mostly when talking to the people, not the economists, but to the people, I feel in the country the crisis is not about the economy, but rather a little bit, I will say, about the politics and all of that unpredictability for the future. Because at the end of the day, we know that there is a psychological inflation. When, for example, a shopkeeper believes that next month the coffee that he sells is going to be at least 25% increase, so then he does it, even if it is actually the reality or the materials, the goods that he used, the essential goods that he used are not being increased 25%, but psychologically they feel that they need to increase it, and this is a never-ending circle. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in Turkey, I will say that when I see the production level of the country, what I can see is we are not actually facing a real economical problem, but rather it's a psychological environment, and it's creating lots of stuffs here. But one of the things that I will maybe like to a little bit try to focus on is that some people are comparing these economical difficulties that Turkey is recently just facing with the devaluation that happened in 2001. I remember in 2001, I was a high school student, but it was all about that the central bank didn't have $3 billion. That was all. The country didn't have money at all. So if they, at that night, could find $3 billion, they could reverse the process, or they could avert the crisis. So they didn't have it, and they just let the economy to collapse totally. Now that's not the case. So Turkey, just last year, the export figure of the country was around $215 billion, which for a mid-income country like Turkey, it's a huge export figure. So it means that this country made $215 billion last year. So that means the country has money. And when we look at the production level, definitely it's increasing because people are just producing and selling it to the outer world. So it is a different kind of crisis, and we need to understand the psychological dynamics of this crisis as well. So it's not all about real financial indicators, but there is a psychological environment in Turkey, and I think it's been very much triggered, sometimes maybe deliberately, sometimes, people do the stuff without knowing actually the reality on the ground. But in any way, it's quite different than the economic crisis in 2001. The economic crisis in 2001 was due to the lack of the financial resources and the productivity in the country. However, now the country has money, definitely. Last year, as I said, $215 billion, which is a huge amount of money for a mid-income country like Turkey. So the psychological indicators or the psychological environment here is triggering an economical and financial crisis. But at the end of the day, I think Turks here are not expecting like a speedy recovery of the economy, but definitely they want the government to stabilize it. So what is the stabilization there? What is the rate for the stabilization? Like $1 equal to 20 liras or 22? I do not know that. But at the end of the day, the middle class particularly is suffering from this fluctuation. So, and they are expecting the government to stabilize it. We know that the world there is an economic, like a global recession. And Turkey also is, as a country that is very much well integrated into the international financial system, is suffering from that. But at the end of the day, that cannot be as an excuse. So whether the government is going to be able to stabilize it or not, that is the big question. But as I said, particularly as a journalist, recently I'm more and more focusing on the psychological environments that's triggering this financial crisis. That's all I can say. But as I said, look, I'm not an economist. It's not my field of expertise. So please excuse me if there has been some, I will say, silly arguments regarding what I have said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rasul Sardar, good friend of mine. Also, he when you enter, I just fell off tonight. I don't know. There is some irregularity with Twitter. But welcome. And just one note before I move to Mr. Tawfiq. I mean, it's the common psychology. You know, it's like if everybody believes in the crisis happens. You know, this is like self-fulfilling prophecy. But as the Turks and as the government, I think they are trying to convince people that we are taking care of the business. But many other powers, globally, economic powers, you know, neighbors, and some others trying to depict Turkey is worse than, you know, some Tanzania or whatever. I don't mean to offend Tanzanian brothers and sisters, but you know, like an African country as that needs desperate money. No, this is not the case. But to build the confidence, we need to work harder. This is also, you know, depends on us. So this, which I think this tonight's reaction kind of disrupt this vicious circle. You know, people always expect the prices go up, and they make automatic rises in the price without waiting for others. I think it was what Mr. Sardar said. It was related to the overall perception, but things may stable, not maybe soon, but quickly than maybe others. But overall, also until the elections, it's not gonna be very easy because they will try again, and we will see more storms in a way. Mr. Tawfiq, go ahead, please.
Yes, I heard someone earlier talk about how easily dollar is accessible in Turkey versus China or other countries.
I said that, yeah.
Yes, I think that's not very healthy over the long run, even the short run, given the fact that the Turkish economy being attacked by Western countries, mainly the U.S. and other countries, it's under a lot of pressure. So I think this has to be regulated somehow because, like I have a friend of mine who's from Ethiopia. He said that the government, the banks, they don't allow the Ethiopian citizens to withdraw unlimited amount of dollars from the banks. I think they have a limit of $3,000 a month. Even here in the U.S., when you go to the bank to withdraw $10,000, any amount over $10,000, whether you withdraw or you deposit, they ask you for your ID, they ask you for your job, and then they take your social security number. So even here in the U.S., they have some sort of restrictions when the money moves around, even if it's just starting the threshold starts from 10,000. But if I go to the bank and I withdraw $7,000, nobody asks me any questions. But if I withdraw $10,000 or more, or deposit $10,000 or more, they ask me a lot of questions. What do you work? We need your ID. We need your social security number, and other issues. So I think it's a good idea to have free access to hard currency in a country, an economy like Turkey, and with the fact that there is so many, people that don't want to see the economy in Turkey prosper and improve. Thank you.
We get inspired by the past. This is like, as I said, Arabs and Turks and Kurds lived 1,000 years together. They can live together again, but there is many different sides that are promoting sectarianism, promoting ethnic conflicts in the region, and we are not happy about that. And even all the way to Ethiopia now, it's it's a mess. They are, regardless of who is right and who is wrong, but I see fitna is more dangerous than who is right is wrong, because in this conflicts, and even the right person got killed, and big disaster. So we are against this fitness, which is the chaotic disorder, fitna in Arabic. and hope that things get better. But it depends on our discussion like this and others. You have also discussions in Arabic and stuff. But it's important to build trust among our brotherly nation. We don't want to fight anybody. We deserve to be also the Middle East. The Arabs deserve to live in a